Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another film/play review. And today's play review is The Importance of Being Earnest. So, what is the importance of being earnest about? Well, it's about two gentlemen who pretend and impersonate to be a character known as Earnest. Ernest is a made-up name, and it is a name that is derived from this idea of one of the characters' name, known as Jack in the play, has told people that he has a brother named Ernest. Well, he hasn't told everyone he has a brother named Ernest, just his little niece, Cecily. Now, of course, to his lady-in-waiting, he has announced himself. Jack has announced himself to his lady-in-waiting as Ernest. Now, this is where he ends up with a little bit of a problem. Cecily believes Ernest to be a mad jackanaught fool who is very wild in the scheme of things. She has been led by Jack to believe that Ernest is a bit of a wild card and is his brother. Whereas a certain Lady Plinth has been basically told by Jack that Ernest is he and he is Ernest, and the name Ernest, which isn't his real name, of course, is a name that Lady Plinth absolutely loves. However, another problem arises for Jack in this play when his mate Algernon decides to take up the name Ernest. The reason he takes up the name Ernest is because he knows that little Cecily has been writing to her dear Uncle Jack. Now, Algernon has never met little Cecily, but he does have a fondness for her, and upon meeting her he falls madly in love with her. He uses this as an opportunity to use the name Ernest. He proposes to her, and then Jack and him have a little bit of a spat. What is there, a little bit of a spat all over? Well, let me get to this part of it, my chinas. Essentially, he loves her, she loves him, they love them. Everyone loves everyone, but no one loves anyone at all. Because everyone does love everyone, but they don't, but they do, but they don't. Right, let me backtrack. Algernon likes little Cecily. Jack likes Mrs. Plinth. Jack and Algernon have pretended to be Ernest. Ernest doesn't exist. Jack has gotten in trouble when he has said that Ernest died in Paris. Algernon has turned up claiming to be Ernest, so quite clearly Ernest is not dead. Then the two women, Cecily and Mrs. Plinth, basically learn that it turns out that Ernest doesn't exist. So the two girls find their diaries in a little bit of a spat. How have they both been proposed to by the very same man when the very same man doesn't exist? Are we all caught up? Yes, I think we are. However, there is another problem in this play. Yes, there is more madness and suave and absolute campness. It turns out, other than the problem of who is being earnest about their character, it also turns out that a certain auntie is playing some strings behind the scenes. However, she's not quite sure whether she wants Jack to be married to her daughter due to the fact that he was born in Victoria Station and left in a bag. A perfectly ordinary handbag. What a travesty in polite society. So Jack does everything in this play to convince Algernon's auntie that he is worthy of marrying her daughter. However, he also tries to jeopardize his own mate's love life with little Cecily because he's a little bit feeling attacked that Algernon wants to go out with one of his family. However, Algernon's aunt kind of dismisses this and points out that if you're happy and he's happy, then everyone's happy. However, now Jack has to convince the aunt that little Cecily is worth Algernon. to which he points out that even though little Jack over here may not have any money except from the money that he was given by the estate, little Cecily was born into money, and she is worthy of the hand of Algernon. The two girls absolutely have a bitch fight with the two men, but eventually, because they're so in love with them, fall into their hands like butter melts on toast. So now that we've got the main plot out of the way, as I've recently watched this on the National Theatre on YouTube, I thought that I might just give my little opinion on bits I loved about the play. I prefer the play with Ncuti Gatwa and the National Theatre's adaptation for one reason. I absolutely love that they're using modern music to kind of appeal to a modern audience. I mean, I feel like if they hadn't, yes, fair enough, there's very funny scenes between Jack and Algernon in which Jack is calling him, "Oh, I think you're perfectly heartless to eat crumpets." That whole joke perfectly lands. And a lot of other jokes in this perfectly land. However, the kind of melodic way that they play in girl, 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 and like a lot of love songs in this that are well known to people nowadays, I feel like it's what really sold me on this play. And for that reason, I give The Importance of Being Earnest a solid 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next play slash film slash maybe just play review. Until then, goodbye. Stay beautiful, you incredible people.